Hello everyone! HunterTube is back again after about the time frame of about a month. And today we have yet another 2026 Thomas item review. And this time it is another track set, but it is part of the push along range or metal collection or just completely plastic engine range, and it is Percy's Railroad Builder Kit. So, before we look at this thing, there's a bit of a backstory as to why I got this one. That backstory is kind of like Cranky over there in the background there. I ended up needing this playset for a special project that I am working on with a certain retailer company that is all across the United States and is known for their color of blue and yellow and white, and that should give you enough hints. But anyway, with that backstory out of the way, let's get to taking a closer look at this bag. So up in the top left corner, we have the new Thomas and Friends logo. We have available on YouTube Kids. We have the new Easy Connect track logo, new for 2026. Here we have little Trip Dog in his little see-through window. We have a nice view of a bunch of parts. Here we have the nice promo of Trip Dog down here. We have all the little layouts you can build. I question number 5. Says as 23 pieces, 350 centimeters or 11.4 feet of track. And then we have the name in a few different languages and railroad. But yeah, here is this side of the bag, which shows the egregious promo of Thomas. Here is the other side of the bag, which has all the parts that are listed, including the little Trip Dog down there. Here is the top of the bag, which shows the nice sky and clouds. So this is what the sky backdrop will look like in the 2026 show. No idea if it is reused from the original show, but it has a nice little handle up here. Got the new logo, 23 pieces, and the Easy Connect logo. The bottom of the bag is a bunch of blah blah information. We have our production date of 72nd day of 2026. And we sadly don't have a Thomas barcode. And the back of the bag looks like this. So up here in the left corner, we got the new Thomas logo. Over here, we have the description for the set, which is so many ways to build. And here we have layout 1, layout 2, layout 3, layout 4, and the weirdest one, layout 5. And for some reason, there is no Percy description anywhere on the back of this bag, which I find kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting how they didn't throw that onto the back of this bag, considering this is the Percy set. But then here we have the name of the playset in every language possible. And then we have all the legal blah blah and extra blah blah down here about magnets and how the bag is not a toy and the other copyright stuff and the Mattel and Fisher-Price logo. Oh yeah, and another thing, the bag zip has the little T-ticket on it. That's a nice little detail right there. So what do you say we open this bag, but first before we unzip it, we have to cut this little thing off. So I'm gonna come in with my scissors and give this thing a little snip like that. And then we pull on this other end, whoop. Now I should be able to unzip the bag. All right. Let's unzip the bag. and see what lies inside. All right. First off, we have our track adapter. So now I have, where's my other one? Now I have 2 of these things. Nice. Here's the instructions, which we will take a look at in a moment. There's that nice Trip Dog promo. We have a floating piece of cardboard in here. Yep, piece of box float. And the rest should just come tumbling out. Like so. So, before we get to looking at the mess that is right here in front of us on the floor, we're gonna take a look at the nice, beautiful instruction sheet for this set. So here is the front part with that nice promo of Trip Dog. We got our parts list. Seems got a little scuffed up there. We got the first page, which features all the track information and the track adapters with the previous and the new logo to represent the tracks. Then we got our track layouts. Got track number 1, track number 2. Okay, for some reason track number 5 is now track number 3. What? And track 4. Track 4 is still track 4. Track 3 and 5 swap places. Alright, interesting. Is there anything about storing this thing back in the bag? Okay, here's how to play. Place the engine on the track to start the journey. Use the switch tracks to change the route. There's nothing on these instructions about how to store the track back into the bag, so I'm guessing you can just throw all this track back into the bag easily. And then this section up front here is a nice pouch for Percy, or should I say Trip Dog. But yeah, that was the instructions. And now let's get to look at the track and Trip Dog. So, we're gonna start by pulling little Percy out of his plastic thing. Whoop! Goodbye, plastic. Here is the all plastic die-cast, not die-cast, but all plastic push-along Trip Dog. Here's his front. Okay. His left eye got a little lopsided, it seems. But yeah, it's not too bad, but he's doing that iconic don't even trip dog face. Here's his side. He's got some nice rivet work, I must say. He's got nice rivets down here. He's got some handrails. He's got rivets going around. He's got nice handrails up here. For some reason, they painted his water cap gold. I don't know why. He's got a nice number 6 here. He's got some nice wheels down here. He's got his piston, which isn't painted, sadly. I will say, oh yeah, and if you shake it, you can hear they added a bit of weight, a few metal weights down to the undercarriage here to give him a bit of weight because they knew he was going to be all plastic. Here is the back, nice plastic coal bunker, separately fitted, nice lamp, got buffers, giant magnet, you can see my reflection. Here's the other side. Pretty much all the same. Here's the top. Oh yeah, he's also got a painted whistle there and that nice shiny gold. And he also has that nice little lamp. That lamp actually looks really cool. That lamp looks really nice. Another thing I will say, I really like the proportions of this thing. The proportions of this look extremely nice, I will say. The proportions of this look so much better than the 80th push along. Let me grab that quick. I was going to do a comparison between these two. So let me grab 80th push along Percy real quick. Okay, I am back, but not only did I grab 80th Percy, but I also grabbed a few other Percys. So we're going to compare the new Trip Dog to the 80th Percy first. Actually, now that I look at these two side by side, the proportions actually look pretty similar to each other. Let me line these up real quick. Let me line these up. Oh my gosh. The proportions are literally identical to each other. I was not expecting that at all. Oh my gosh. This Percy here fixed the one mistake that this Percy had. You know what that mistake was? The smoke box. The smoke box on this Percy felt way too short and stubby. This one has a nice big smoke box that is nice and long. And it actually sort of goes forward a bit more than whatever this is, where it just floats in the air. It literally feels like it's just floating there. Like it wasn't even part of the thing. I was not expecting the body proportions to be almost identical to each other. Like these things are basically the same in length. The body proportions are the exact same in length. That is insane. I was not expecting that at all. It doesn't seem like they fit. Actually, did they fix it? Nope, the little box things are the same height on both sides. Okay. Except I think they made them shorter on the new Percy. I can't tell. The rivet work seems to also be a little different. With the new one, it only goes along the bottom here. It doesn't go up. As on the 80th Percy, it goes up. On the new Percy, it also goes around the cab, just like the 80th one. But the new Percy has added rivets alongside his handrails and also rivets on these little square things, which the 80th Percy does not have. But seriously, I was not expecting the boilers to be exactly the same size. This trip dog fixed the one issue that was wrong with this Percy, and that's that darn smoke box. Like, oh my gosh. Also, since I forgot to mention it, here is the bottom of the new Percy. And why does he have rivets on a completely plastic model? I am questioning sanity now. Item number is JLL37, which is not the item number of the builder kit. The builder kit item number is JNF84. Is that item number the item number of the Safari set? The Percy's Hippo set. Is that the item number of the Hippo set? Let me know. I might add a bit of text in here if I am correct about that. We got Percy, we got the little ticket, we got a production date, 72nd day of 2026. Yeah, why does he have rivets? Also, let's test his magnet out. Oh no. Oh no. Hayes, I think you freaking jinxed it. Help. No, no, no! Why? He's backwards! No! So, after a bit of confusion and delay, I went in and I fixed Mattel's mistake. And I fixed Trip Dog. So now if we look underneath, there are daubs of hot glue underneath from where I drilled out Percy's rivets. I will throw up a picture here. I also had to drill out the plastic casing that held the magnets in place to remove the magnets and switch them out. And now Trip Dog connects in the correct direction, the way he is supposed to be, with the arrows facing the correct way. there was a tweet that I just saw as well saying that I am not the only one who has had this problem where someone bought 3 builder buckets or builder kits and all 3 Percys had the wrong magnet polarity. So this isn't just a one-off thing. This is a common factory error. Mattel, fix your freaking quality control with this new range. This has gone way out of hand. And this is only the second item of this new range that I've got. My first encounter of it wasn't too bad, as I got a nice motorized Thomas here, which wasn't faulty. But you may need to look back at what is going on in the factory with these railroad builder kits. Because the Percys aren't coming out right. It's making me think back to this production, to this item number here of JLL37, considering this is not the item number on the builder kit, as long as we can remove that hot glue from it. Yeah, JLL37. I am definitely positive sure that that is the item number for the hippo set, though. But, yeah, that was our confusion and delay out of the way. And now we can continue looking at these Percys. And we saw him against the 80th Percy. Also, this Percy has a bit of improvement. This one has a proper 3D whistle, while this one just has it painted on. But, yeah, I was still not expecting the boilers to be almost identical in size. And that, actually looking at, yeah, the boiler of the 80th one is slightly longer. But yeah, the main problem with this Percy was his smoke box was just way too small and it just floated in the air. This Percy also has an advantage where the bunker is actually properly black in opposed to green. It's also got a back lamp, and the coal looks a lot nicer than the 80th Percy. But yeah, I will say this 2026 Percy looks a lot better than this 80th Percy. And we also have the most obvious elephant in the room. The wheel gauge is tighter than the 80th ones, which means these new 2026 engines, these diecasts, will have a bit of trouble on some of the previous Trackmaster Revolution track pieces. And I'm pretty sure we're going to bring in a monstrosity into the frame again. I am pretty sure these two are the exact same wheel gauge. Okay. Trip Dog is just a little bit tighter, it seems, when the wheels are pushed inwards. But the reason I am bringing this up is because these things here have the exact same issues on Trackmaster Revolution track. And I will show that when we get to the running session. But yeah, that was Trip Dog against 80th Percy. Now we're going to backtrack even further. The next Percy we're going to backtrack to is the Trackmaster Push-Along Percy. And just by judging from the front, I can already safely say Trip Dog is a million miles better than this. Oh my gosh, look at that. He's taller than this thing. He is taller than this. Yeah, Trip Dog wins by a million miles landslide. Look at this. This is so much nicer than whatever the heck this is. Ay. Trip Dog definitely looks a lot nicer than the Trackmaster Push-Along Percy. Yeah. It's night and day. Even the longer boiler looks nice on this one. And I'm saying that. Also, what was this? Oh yeah, that's his safety valve. I was about to say, what was that? That's his safety valve. They painted his safety valve on this one, but not his whistle. That is weird. This one just doesn't even have a safety valve, but it has handrails, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're 3-dimensional. They have a little bit of an indent to them. They're 3-dimensional. Yeah. Trip Dog wins by a landslide compared to the Trackmaster Push-Along Percy. And Since these two are very similar, since Adventures Percy is very similar, I'd say this is a bit more of a challenge actually, because I think the proportions on this one look a little bit nicer than the Trackmaster Push Along, because I'm pretty sure the Push Along. No, they're exactly the same length. Yeah, it's just because this one's wider. It's just because the Trackmaster Push Along is wider than the Adventures one, because they widened it out to work the wheelbase. But these two are technically about the same width. Actually, let me check the wheel gauge. The Adventures wheel gauge is tighter than this new die-cast wheel gauge. So that's interesting. So that's why we take this track here, and then the Adventures engines kind of struggle on it, on like the switches and stuff. Because the wheel gauge on these is tighter than these new 2026 die-cast. But yeah, here's the sides. I think Trip Dawg still wins. Trip Dawg definitely wins. He's got that nice tall cab, that nice funnel, the nice everything. Yeah, Trip Dawg wins against Adventures Percy. Now we come to the true competitor. The take and play / take along Percy. Okay. Now we have real competition. I like how short the take and play is. Yeah, this one's a take and play because it is made by Mattel. It's got that 2009 Mattel copyright. So this one's technically a take and play. Both of these do look nice. I don't know which one is better. I like the big boiler on Trip Dawg more than this one. This one makes Percy feel like slightly bigger, like a slightly bigger engine. Like a slightly longer, bigger engine. I do like this one, though. Actually, now that I look at it, the boiler stops before like the toolboxes. This one, the boiler goes beyond the toolboxes. Very interesting contrast. These are like over 10 years apart. I don't have a dumb magnet Percy, but it would have been exactly the same as the Adventures, so there was really no comparison. I don't know which one's better. I feel like these two might be about the exact same in terms of how good they are. These two are good in their own ways. I feel like the only thing that this Percy is missing is his safety valve, because every other version of Percy, even the 80th one, has the safety valve on it. This one's got the safety valve, and this one's got the safety valve. He's got the safety valve right in front of the whistle. This one has the safety valve. This one doesn't have the safety valve. Maybe that's why his water cap is painted gold, because the makers of this probably thought that his water cap was his safety valve. But yeah, that was the comparisons with the new Percy with the older Percys. But yeah, I definitely say 2026 Percy is slightly better than the 80th Percy. This Percy wins by a landslide compared to this. 80th Percy was a bit of a misfire. Let's just say that. But yeah, now that ramble about Trip Dawg and his weird issues are out of the way, let's look at this track! Okay, so I don't really need to go too in-depth with looking at the track since I really did that in the Cranky video. But just because, here's a look at the straight track. It's like this. Here's the underneath. We got the Thomas & Friends logo. Here's one of the switches. This is the same switch direction that came in the Cranky set, which is TR, turn right. Look like that. We have some ramps This time they're in a gray color instead of a green. I am pretty sure. I'm gonna grab a curve here from the cranky set at the back. Yep, they are the exact same gray color as the curves in the cranky set. That is good to know. So you get 2 of those. You get 4 straights. And then here we have the opposite direction switch, which is turn left. So that's something I haven't had yet. We get a bajillion curves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 curves. And then we get 3 ramp pieces. So we get 2 ARs ascending right and 1 ascending left. Yep, that is correct. I just had to look at the bag quick because that's interesting. You'd get 1 ascending left and 2 ascending right. So now I have 3 ascending rights and 2 ascending lefts. Also, these ones are in a blue color. They sort of remind me of like Tommy Blue. I think they're a little darker than Tommy Blue, but yeah. These are your ascending tracks. We have the shorter risers, which are the same as the cranky set. Also, they can stack like that. And we have some taller risers. And these things are kind of a misfire, in my opinion, because with this Easy Connect system, it feels like we're going back to the early days of classic Trackmaster, right? Where you aren't able to build tracks that are higher than like 1 studge and like you can't have trains go under your risers anymore. This is the stuff that classic Trackmaster used to do when it was run by Hit Toy Company. Because when Fisher-Price took over, they fixed Trackmaster, the original Trackmaster, and made risers and stuff that were able to stack like how Tommy did. This feels like a step in the backwards direction, and I don't like it. That's like my only issue with this new riser system, is that you can't have trains drive under it. That's like a big misstep. But yeah, that was the track. And now, let's get to building it! Actually, before we get to building the track, I just remembered we have our track adapter. So let's rip this open and pull this out. Here's our track adapter. And now I have 2 of these. So I can adapt back to Revolution and back to Easy Connect if I wanted to. So I could adapt both ways now, or use it as like a shorty piece of track. But yeah, here's our adapter. Now let's get to building the track. And I think the layout I am going to choose is layout number 1 here. Alright, so here is track layout number 1. Well, technically this is a modified track layout number 1, as I decided to take the 2 straights that weren't used and add them in between the switches and these curves to make a bit of a longer circuit, which means the only 2 pieces, technically 3 pieces that got left out were the track adapter, a curve, and a ascending right. So yeah, here is the first track, and I'd say it is a nice simple little circuit. So let's come in closer and give Trip Dog a little run. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna give Percy a little push. I'm gonna push him forward, gonna push him around the curve. I'm gonna take him around the inner track first. It's going around the curves nicely. I'm gonna come around again, go forward and go up the little incline. We're now at the top of the hill, so we can get a nice view. And now he's gonna just race back down at full speed. Nicely done. Now we're gonna come in with a motorized Thomas, and now this guy is a bit on lower battery, so he's gonna be running a little slow. We're gonna see how he does around the circuit. Yeah, he's definitely a bit low on the battery power at the moment. because he's not running on the freshest batteries, but he's coming around, making it around that curve, pulling Trip Dog nicely. We're gonna see him come around, go up the incline. Up he goes. Did that very nicely with no strain or struggles. Back down the slope. And back towards the start. Nicely done. So, now that we took a look at how this Percy performs on his own native track system, let's take this Percy over to the previous track system and show you the one big flaw that these new push-along trains have. So here we have Trip Dog, and he's gonna go along this sort of section of curves, and we're gonna come over to the adapter and adapt onto Trapmaster 2 track. So he's coming along nicely. He's going nicely along this straight here. He's coming along nicely around this curve. He even does these hills fine. But the issue comes when we come across this switch here. As you can see, the track buffs out a little bit wider here. And if we take him and try and drive him along this section here, he jumps up into the air and doesn't ride the track properly, which is all because of the narrower wheelbase they decided to give these things. And it just makes me question, what was the point of making track adapters to the previous track system if your push-along trains aren't even going to work properly with it? Like, these things here, the new motorized, work perfectly well on the previous track system. Like, this guy's gonna make it over that switch perfectly, no problems at all. But these, they don't like it. What was the point of making these wheelbases tighter if you were gonna make track adapters and not make them work on like every piece? I don't understand it. And if you thought the switch was bad enough, it's even worse with the turntable. He doesn't even want to try and ride it, period. He's just lumping in the middle there. Fail, fail, fail. Now, knowing that Trip Dog doesn't really work well with Trapmaster Revolution, it brings me to my theory of why I said and why I thought that these two had just about the same wheel gauge as each other. Even though the Percy is just a little bit tighter in wheel radius compared to Farmer Faye. Let me get a shot. Because yeah, if we look closely here, again, you can see that Percy is just a little bit tighter in wheel radius compared to Farmer Faye here. Despite that, Farmer Faye has the exact same issues on Trapmaster Revolution track. So we take her and we drive her onto a track. She goes just fine over the hills and stuff. When we come to this switch here, she will jump up onto the thicker part. So basically, these die-cast things are the exact same wheel gauge as the Mighty Express toys, even though it is slightly tighter in radius by like a slight millimeter. I mean, if you put out wide enough, it will line up. But these are basically the exact same wheel radius as the Mighty Express trains, because these struggle just as much on Trapmaster Revolution on the exact same pieces as well. And just for extra proof, here is the turntable. Faye's wheels are not lining up with those rails. It is a disaster. But yeah, that's probably like my only issue with these new push along engines, is that they don't completely work with the previous track system. And that kind of sucks, because it kind of deranges me from wanting to collect most of the new die casts and try and figure out a way to mod them to work with Trackmaster Evolution. Because, like, if I did have spare wheels to mod these with, which I really don't, I'd also have to figure out a way to make the couplings sort of work, obviously. And that would be kind of a challenge, considering, like, probably the only few characters I will be getting are, like, Oliver and Toad, and then maybe one or two others, but who knows. But yeah, I'm more into collecting the motorized range here with this new stuff. I only got this thing mainly for the track here, just for extra track. But honestly, Percy is alright. But as for the wheel gauge, that's a totally different story. But with that little side tangent out of the way, what are my overviews of this sort of track pack? I think it's a nice little track pack. If you want a bit of decent track, because this does come with a fair amount of track. As for Percy, his looks are nice. The magnet issue is kind of a quality control thing Mattel really needs to fix. The wheel gauge issue is another thing. But I think a fair rating of this track pack would be maybe an 8 out of 10. I would give it higher if Percy's magnets were the right way round, like maybe a 9. But yeah, I'd say that's a fair rating. I think I give it the exact same rating as I did for the Cranky set. But yeah, with that out of the way and the general overviews, why don't we get around to building the rest of the track layouts and do a bit of running session with Percy here. So now that I've built all the layouts, which of the 5 layouts is my favorite? I would give that to layout 4 here, as I feel like it's a pretty cool one, considering you can go around and you can go over and under, and also you can kind of use this one as like a kind of branch off to sort of expand onto like other sets. I don't have it connected at the moment, as I kind of set it up in a way where I tried to use like every track piece in this track pack except for the adapter. But layout 4 would be considered my favorite of all the track layouts, with layout 1 coming in second. I'd say layouts 2 and 3 are tied. I'd say 3 comes in third, considering you can mod it to make a better hill, as you saw. Layout 2 would come in 4th place, and layout 5 comes in dead last. What even is that? That's not even a layout. That's an excuse to try and use all the track pieces in a setup. But yeah, that was a look at the track layouts. And I suppose with that, that marks the end of the review of the 2026 Railroad Builder Kit from the Easy Connect line for the new 2026 show. So this is HunterTube saying thanks for watching, bye for now, and hopefully the next video will not take about a month to come out. It might, depending on what projects I'm working on and other stuff, but I do have a few ideas up my sleeve, and hopefully I can get those ideas out soon. One of those is the movie, which will not be coming out in the near future, just to let you know. But a few other things will probably come out in the future, like more reviews of the 2026 stuff, maybe a few MMD animations, which I have up my sleeves. But anyways, with that out of the way, thanks for watching, bye for now, and don't even trip, dog!